Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to discuss my research report about the role of outsourcing in supply chain management. I am Cassandra Peña Redonda from Advanced Professional Communication class. For today's agenda, I will tackle the introduction and problem statement, provide analysis, and provide recommendations and conclusion to emerging issues in the outsourcing field of the supply chain process. According to an article, A Brief History of Outsourcing, outsourcing is defined as acquiring resources or processes from contractors for them to perform activities. These contractors have specialization to provide efficient services for the company. According to an article, History and Evolution of Outsourcing, outsourcing emerged in the 1950s. However, it has seen a potential strategy business in the 1980s. Focusing on core competency is the driver of a positive impact on business. It has evolved drastically from traditional outsourcing, strategic outsourcing, to transformational outsourcing. According to an article, A Brief History of Outsourcing, there are four main processes for a standard outsourcing program. First, program initiation. These are the idea generation and documentation to know what scope in the supply chain process needs to outsource. Second is service implementation. Third is final agreement, and last would be the program closure. To address specific issue emerging within a business, an important question on why do they need to outsource will be discussed throughout this report. The main issue is how companies may able to identify if they are in need of integration of an outsourcing activity within their business. Upon consideration of these business strategies, its underlying factors are cultural differences. This can create misunderstanding and misinterpretation due to language barrier. Also, there will be a conflicts in behaviors, norms, and values. Working with organization that has a different mission and vision may arise an issue. Next is cost-cutting measure, identifying process that can reduce costs internally and externally. Unreliable suppliers. Most of the suppliers have a big clients that do not give importance to small companies, resulting in providing low-quality products and poor customer service. Technological advancement. Due to growing demand of the consumers, buyers' expectations are increasing as well. Product specification, added features, sustainability, and reliability of the product are drastically changing. Data leaks which is provided to vendors can be shared to other organizations for their benefits. And losing control over the project. Management should clearly identify its future desires to prevent potential conflicts. Analyzing internal and environmental factors will be extremely helpful if outsourcing is a good strategy to integrate within a business. Strengths of outsourcing activity is that it helps to maintain lower costs. Operational costs will be minimized. It lets the company focus on its core activities, allowing staff to focus on their expertise. And they can increase efficiency, they can achieve a production efficiency. Weakness of outsourcing are lose control due to contractors have their own business processes too. Reduced quality control may lack of high quality and standards. Management difficulties due to different mission and vision. Opportunities are companies can get more experts, information from suppliers are a transferable skills, and they can also offer staffing flexibility. They can get temporary workers just when you need them. Lastly, threats are data leaks, hidden costs when there is no agreement, and loss of innovative capacity. We also analyze PESTEL tool. Outsourcing political constraint are foreign government policies that may impose regulations. Regulatory considerations sometimes influence the sourcing patterns of businesses, including the changes in the contract between vendors and companies. Economical is those companies who compensate well. Developing countries may want to work with outsourcing company that provides a well-compensated offer. According to an article in UK Essays, relocating jobs to other less expensive processed parts of the world can save costs, save people's job, and save company. Social is the consumer's growing demand. Technological or the equipment efficiency. Equipment and machineries have capacity and constraints that requires maintenance, availability of equipment, working hours of equipment, and its efficiency. Environmental is acquiring of raw materials from contractors that has now been complex than before. Product companies are trying to capture standard and high-quality raw materials within a reasonable price. And legal would be the agreement between contractors and companies. Considering outsourcing to be a part of business have pros and cons. Pros are overhead costs are cut, focusing on competitive skills of their staff, and risks are shared with their vendors. Expertise and swiftness, on the other hand, most of the tasks within the outsourcing are provided by vendors who specialize in their field with an appropriate specific equipment and technical expertise. These can complete it faster with better quality and features. While cons are relevant information for the product and services are shared within the vendors. Lose control over the project due to vendors as an expertise of the outsourced process. And although outsourcing can save money, additional costs may arise and involve during a contract signing with vendors. Implementing outsourcing should be identified clearly to avoid hidden costs that can be imposed by vendors. According to an article of Fine Extra, here are the list of outsourcing Canadian companies that have successfully integrated outsourcing as part of their business. CIBC is a Canadian bank who outsource their human resources such as call center agents. TELUS as well outsource their customer service to countries who specialize in providing exceptional customer skills. Cheap labors from third world countries is one of the factors they are successful in outsourcing. RBC outsourced their external suppliers from India and has an RBC Offshore Development Center. These are being outsourced for cost savings and efficiency. Bell, on the other hand, outsourced design and customer service systems. It helped them to minimize the investment in call center capital assets. Some of the outsourcing activities are being considered due to timeline factors. Some of them were not able to be successful to a long-term run of a company. How companies may able to identify if they in need of outsourcing. First recommendation is to look over their expenses. Operating, labor, and overhead costs are the expenses that may overlook which result to income loss. They may look on the efficiency of their equipment, labor, and processes that do not add value to their business. Second would be the changing demand of the consumers. High quality raw materials, additional features may require investing to technology and skilled staff, which is costly. Third is when companies are trying to expand globally, tapping global markets requires an international expertise. These experts may aid in a successful global expansion. A business will be able to identify if they need an outsourcing integration when investment with equipment and staff are inefficient and costly. These factors that do not add value to the supply chain process will prefer outsourcing. According to Shetna, the kind of work which is provided in the country of origin for a very high price can be obtained at a much cheaper rates in the developing countries. Here is an example of Gantt chart for the implementation of outsourcing integration. First is to evaluate the whole process. Next is to identify which processes the most inefficient and costly function. Third is to examine unnecessary spending that do not add value to the product or services. Next is to create and launch cost reduction plan. Next is create a list of outsourcing parties, and then they can select a reliable vendors, and they can create an agreement within the vendors, and finally they can integrate it within the business. In conclusion, outsourcing has become a popular tool for diverse and strategical business. It provides numerous benefits, reduce the burden, and company may able to concentrate to their core functions. Outsourcing is a good strategy to implement within a business if it is executed properly. Outsourcing is a good alternative for the business if looking ways to improve productivity and earn a well-deserved profit. It has drawbacks which can be eliminated if the present and future desires are correctly expressed. That's all, and thank you for your time.